Welcome back to the second part of our Flutter series video, and we started off with building a signal clone application with Flutter. And in the first part, we are able to do something that looks very nice with some couple of random colors. Whenever we click on that, we could see that ripple effect, and also we have some couple of random colors for each user circular avatar. But in this part of the tutorial, we are going to be working on the inbox, making sure that whenever we click on this, it's going to redirect us to the inbox, where we can see a very nice app bar. Of course, we are going to come back to redesign this app bar. I wanted to make it more simpler before, so that even a new beginner can flow along. And we are going to be designing that app bar and also completing everything for the inbox. So right away, let's get started. But before we move ahead, the first thing we have to do is to add some couple of models. So come over to this models folder and create a class called charts users. And it's going to have these parameters. And inside the constructor, we must require these three things, or else we are going to have an error. Sorry for that. And then we can close that, and that error goes away. So what we are simply saying here is that chat users, each user is going to have a name and also a message text and also a time. Well, I don't think we are going to use the time, but for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to leave all these things. I'm sure you're going to understand it at the ending of the video. So beneath that, we are going to have one more thing called chat users. So chat message, not chat users. We already have the chat users. So let me just go ahead and quickly put that down. And this is going to model the way our data for messages is going to be. And inside the constructor as well, we do what we did on the previous one. So that solves it. We are done with these two things. And if we want to make this more very nice or more unique, we can actually use something called at required. Maybe we want to make sure that these ones we put at required at the front. It must be required, or else it's going to throw an error. So I think I'm not spelling this correctly. So I have required at required, this dot name at required, and that should be it. So in case we are modeling our data from an API or from a custom array, it must follow this convention, and we must require the name and also the message text. And if we want to also add it to the time, we can still go ahead and add at required to the time. So in case we use this and we were not able to like put down this, the linter is going to show us that something is actually missing. So right away, let's go ahead as we are done putting things down in our models file. Inside the users list, we just have to scroll down to the inkwell. So inside this, we are going to see the ontap. So with the help of the ontap, we are able to see the ripple effects. So whenever we click on this, we can be able to see the ripple effects. And right now we want it that whenever we click on this, we go over to another route or another screen, or can I say another class in Flutter. So I'm just going to create a folder called inbox. So I already did create that folder. I'm just going to create a file called inbox inside there. We are still going to come back to this user list. Now inside this inbox file is going to be a stateful widget. So at first, you just have to make sure you import the Flutter package. So we have the Flutter / material .dot. And then we are going to have a class of inbox, which is going to extend the stateful widgets. And we're also going to have another class for the stateless widget, which is the inbox state. And it's going to extend a state which is going to be coming from the inbox. So that's it. And whenever we are using a stateful widget, we must reference our create state with the inbox state. So we just have to use the override. Then we have the new inbox state. So you could see that recommendation because we're already making reference to it. And inside here, we just have to use the build context with override again. So I'm just going to grab this rather than wasting my time tapping it down. And we can just bring down the widgets, build. Then here we have the build context. And then we're going to return a safe area, and inside that safe area is going to have a child of scaffold, which is going to be able to provide us the app bar and also other things inside of it. So just go ahead and close this in order to format it properly automatically. So right now we are done putting down everything that we need inside this inbox file. Back to this user list. All we just have to simply do is to come back to this inquire as usual, and all you just have to do is to use the navigator dot push. So we reference the context, and then we use the material page route, and the material page route is going to require a builder, and the builder is going to be coming from the context. Then we can now call the class we want to redirect to. So make sure you wrap this in parentheses in order to avoid any error. And why you are seeing this over here is because we've not yet imported that inbox. So you can just hover over that and click on import inbox. So at the top here, when we scroll up, you should see the inbox class imported. And we can just go ahead and save. And we still have one more error. I'm trying to figure out where the error is, because in our minimap we could see an error. So we can just go ahead and close this, and that error goes away. So when we go ahead and click on this, you see right now we are already in the inbox class. Right now we are going to focus mainly on our inbox file, and the first thing we have to do is to work on our app bar. So let's just quickly start. So inside this app bar, we're going to have some couple of cool stuffs inside of it. So the first one is going to be the background color, and it's going to take a color, and as usual we must put this. So, and then we can put 1EA955. Then beneath it we are going to have a leading, we are going to have as well a title, and at the end we are going to have actions. So for now, let's just comment this out and focus on the leading aspect. So the leading is the one that have the back button. So let's just go ahead and add that, which is going to be very simple. We can use the icon button provided by Flutter. And inside this icon button, we're going to have the icon, which is going to be icons.arrow back. Then we are going to have the action or the call to action, which is unpressed. So whenever we click on this, we just want to pop this navigation back using that same context. So you can just say navigator dot pop, then you can put down context. This is one thing that actually makes me like Flutter, because it's more easier than when you're working with React Native. You don't really need to like structure things by yourself a lot, because the widget already made it more simpler for you. Unlike React Native, you have to be the one that will draw everything for yourself in your screen, which is kind of problematic sometimes. If you're not very good at it, you'll see that you're going to be repeating some things over and over again. But with Flutter, you could see we have here the leading, the icon button, the icons made available, and also the extension, which is Very, very crucial. The Flutter plugin that's recommending all these things for us. So let's just go ahead. And right now we are going to go over to the title, and I'm just going to uncomment that. So with the title, we are going to bring down the row, and the row is going to have the children. The first one is going to be the circle avatar. So this circle avatar provides us the ability to either use network images, but we are not going to be using a network image. We are going to be using text. But first, it's going to have a background color of colors.white. Then the child is going to be a text, just a simple text. I can just put my name there, Samuel Anthony. And then we have a text style, a style with a text style. And inside that text style, we have a font size of 10. And let's save and preview our application. You could see we have a very nice rounded icon avatar. So the next thing we have to do now is to add some couple of other things like a padding widget. So we have padding, and we just want the left part. We're using the only. So we just want 10, and here we have a child which is going to have the name of Samuel. And I'm going to add a style. So that should probably be your name. We're going to have text style and also a font size of 14. Sorry guys. So let's save and preview, and that looks nice. One more thing is that little icon between after this name. We're just gonna copy this and paste it down. So instead of us to have this text, we just have to get rid of it, and we're gonna bring in an icon. So we have an icon, and we're going to be using the evo icons.user, and also a color of colors.white. So in case you reached here and you kind of find things very hard, just very simple, let's just scroll to the top. If you notice here, I'm using Flutter icons, and how I get to use that was that in the popspec.yaml file, I imported a dependency, and this was not only dependency that I imported some couple of other dependencies. So we are actually using the Flutter icons now, which gives us the ability to have access to uploader icons, and you can just get rid of that. We don't need it. So either you use the icons provided with default by Flutter, or you can use custom icons as well using the dependency, which is a very nice thing. So we are done with that, and if you check here, you see we have that Samuel, and I think this is very far from where it should be. So we can actually use 5, and it should push it a little bit to the left. So if we want to push it a little bit to the top, we can use the bottom, and we can add 5, because in the application it's like a little bit at the top. And let's just kind of make this 2. And that looks better, and also looking very similar to Signal Inbox application. So one more last thing for our action bar is come over to the actions, and this action is going to have some couple of widgets. So these are all types, not that the application is going to crash or have an issue. So we have a padding of edge inserts dot only, and this one is going to be right because we are going to have some couple of icons by it. So it's usually good to use 20.0 or 1.0 in order to give you a perfect number. Not that when you use like a direct 20, you're going to have an issue. I'm just giving you a very nice suggestion. So I'm just going to leave that. Then we are going to have a gesture detector. And this gesture detector is going to have an on tap, and your tab is going to have, sorry guys for that. So it's going to have a child, not the on tap actually. The gesture detector is going to have a child of an icon, and we have the first one to be the video icon. So I can use the ionicons.ios. I didn't spell it correctly. We have ionicons.ios video cam, and then we have the size of 30.0. So we are having an issue here because I wrapped something here I'm not supposed to wrap. So this was supposed to be at the end here. So let's just go ahead and save that. And if you check in our application, you see the icon now appeared. I'm just gonna copy this as usual. So just put a comma there, copy it. And the second one is gonna have an icon as well. But this one we are gonna be using font awesome.phone. So I usually like breaking things down so that it's kind of more, well, Flutter chooses to make it that way, which is not bad. But right there, you could see we have that very nice icon. And one more last thing is to have the menu icon. So let's just go ahead and add it as usual. And this one as well is gonna have icons. So we're gonna use the Flutter icons or the Cuperticons, but more verts. So let's save and check in our application. You could see right now the app bar looking like a real Android device or a real Android application. Sorry for that. And everything is looking really nice. So if you've really come this far, don't forget to hit the like button and also the subscribe button. Right now we are done with working on the app bar. And the next thing now is to build some couple of chat messages that we are going to be using for our body or for the chat list. So what I just simply have to do is to build a list using our chat message type. And we are going to call it messages, which is going to be an array that is going to return chat message. So the first one is the message content. And it's going to be hello. I don't know why I'm on caps. So we have hello Sam, and it's going to be a message type of receiver. So this is the user that we are going to be sending to, and make sure you spell things correctly. And then we are going to have some couple of these, just that we are going to change the text. So we can say hi friend, and Sam can say how are you doing? Are you let's say how are you doing? And the user can say I'm fine friend. So guys, I've not reminded you to hit that like button, smash it for me, don't forget. And we have hi, hello Sam, hi friend, how are you doing? I'm fine. And we could say what about the trade? And Sam can say oh you mean the coin that is trending? So let's just leave it there. So right here you see we are the Sam happens to be the receiver, and this is gonna be the sender. And Sam also happens to be the receiver, so we are not gonna clear that. So we just have to like put sender and also put sender on this one. So that solves it, and we are done with our chat messages. So if we kind of print this down, so let's say we print down the messages. This is not the right place to do that, but let's say we can actually do it here, but let's just go ahead. We are still going to see that, or even if we press the unpress, we can also use the print here to print it out. So we could say the messages whenever we go back. So let's save and check in our console. So right here you can't see anything, but when we click on this, you should be able to see something. Actually, it's not showing. Oh, that looks very funny, but let's just go ahead. It's very fast and very dynamic. And we can just come down here and we can start putting down the body right away. So this is the app bar, this is where it ends. And beneath that, you can put down the body. So the body is going to contain a lot of things which make up our application. The first one is going to be a stack widget. And inside this stack widget is going to have some couple of children. And the first one is going to be a list view dot builder. So we have the widgets, and here we have the item count. So the item count is going to be coming from our messages.length. And we have a shrink wrap. We can just set that to true. And the padding, so it's going to be an edge insert of only top, which is going to be 10, and also a bottom of 10. And inside that, we're going to have a physics. So this physics, we are still going to know what it's all about. So let's just put never scroll physics function and just move ahead. So we have the item builder, which is going to contain the context and also the index. And we're going to return a container. Now inside this container, we're going to have a padding of edge inserts that are only, we have the 4 axes. Let me just close this, and that's formatted properly. We have the left of 14. Don't forget to put 0. I usually forget that. Right of 14, and also a top of 10, a bottom of 10.0. So let's just save that. It says builder not found, but right now you could see the builder exists, so that goes away. And it's going to have a child. So instead of a container, yeah, sorry for that, guys. We're going to have a child inside a container. So this child is going to be an align. So we have alignments. Let's just make it simple. Let's just for now, let me just use a simple alignment. Let's just say alignment is alignment dot top left. So let's just leave this way and go ahead. We are still going to come back to that. So we have a child inside this alignment, and we have a container, which is going to have a decoration. So we're going to have something called box decoration. So I know I've not really talked about this, but it's more like it helps us have the ability to style a particular container. It's more also like a fitted box. So we're going to have a border radius of border radius dot circular, and we have 20, a color of messages index dot message type. And what I actually wanted to do here is to use the ternary operator, but for now let's just stick to simplicity. So we can just use color 0xFF, and here we have 1EA955. So let's just move ahead. We are still going to come back to making all this look very responsive. So sorry for that little noise. Dogs barking on the streets, and that's very bad of them. So we have padding edge inserts dot all 16. Oh, dogs. Oh. And then we are going to have a child inside that container, which is going to be the text, and it's going to be the text message. So right here, let's just go ahead and use our messages, and we can use the index from our item counts. Then we can use the message content, and let's just go ahead and save. So we should be able to see some couple of messages listed down for us, and you could see it actually not perfectly aligned. So the first thing we have to do is to make sure we align everything. So when we get rid of this alignment, it's probably staying at the center, which is very bad. But for the alignment first, what we can do is very simple. So we can just clear this and use the ternary operator. First of all, we just have to check whether the person is a receiver or a sender. So we can say messages index dot message type is equal to receiver. If it is equal to a receiver, we are going to have alignment dot top left, or else we are going to have an alignment dot top right. So that saves the day, and it's going to automatically align everything where it should be. So you could see we have, I am texting, I'm staying at the center, and I'm receiving at the right. So for the text color is pretty much the same thing. We can just bring down the style, and it's gonna have a text style. So this text style is gonna have a font size of 13 and also a color of messages. We have the index dot message type happens to be the receiver. So if it happens to be the receiver, we are going to have colors dot white, or else we're gonna have colors dot black, but we want to use black 87, and let's save that to see the effect. And you can see it's looking very nice and actually very good. And also one more thing we also have to do for the box decoration is not to use a fixed color just like we did here. We're also going to check for the message. So I'm just going to let's just go ahead and put it down ourselves. We could say messages index dots. We have the message content, sorry, the message type, not the message content, happen to be the receiver. Oh, guys, I'm sorry for that. So we have the receiver. If it happens to be the receiver, we do things as usual, and we're gonna use this color, or else we're gonna use colors dot gray dot shade 200, and that should solve it. And we are kind of having some error here, and I think it's because we have to close this. Yeah. So let's save and check. Right away, we are done with listing the chat list, and let's go ahead and work on the inputs. So we're just going to start up simply, and we can just use align. And align is going to have an alignment. So we have alignment dot bottom left. Yeah. Then we're going to have a child, which is going to have a container. So let's scroll a little bit up, and inside here we're going to have, first of all, let's just give it a padding of edge insets dot only. We have the left of 10, the bottom of 10.0, so make sure you add 0.0, even if I forget to do that. So just go ahead and do it, it's more safer. And also we have the top of 10.0. And the next thing we have to do is to give it a height, because you don't want it to not have a height, and we're gonna give it a width. So we're not gonna use something like 100%. We just want to use the full width of our screen, so we can use double dot infinity in case we have different screen sizes. And we're gonna give it a color, which is the background colors of colors dot white. And inside that is gonna have sorry for that, a child of row, and that child is going to have a children, and as usual we're going to have some couple of widgets inside that children. And the first one is going to be a gesture detector. So we usually use something like a gesture detector, just like in React Native we have on click or on tap. It's kind of long. I use React Native, so I'm pretty forgetting most things, but I promise I'm going to bounce back heavily on it. So we have the first one is going to be for the on tap. So for the on tab, we're gonna have a function and we're just gonna close that. We are not gonna add anything inside of it. So make sure you close things to properly format. And we're gonna have a child. And this child is going to have a container. So this is one thing that makes Flutter very unique. And then inside this container, we are gonna give it a height of 30 and also a width of 30. So for the decoration, just like we did for each chat list, we are gonna have a box decoration. And this box decoration is gonna have a color of colors.light blue. So this is light blue. And then we have a border radius of border radius dot circular. We can just give it a 30. And beneath this, we're gonna have a child, which is gonna be an icon. And as usual, you know we have icons. We can just make a selection of the particular icon we want. We can use the add, and we can just go ahead and style that icon. So I'm just going to give it a color of colors.white and also a size of 20. So that solves it. And let's scroll a little bit down. And outside this gesture handler, we're gonna have something like a size bus. So I will still show you why we are gonna be using that size bus. But for now, let's just go ahead and add every other thing. So we are gonna have expanded to make use of the remaining width. And at the end, we are gonna have something called a floating. So we have a floating action button. So here we have the unpressed, which is gonna be a function just like that. And I think we are getting error because we didn't add a comma there. And over here we have a child of icon. So let me scroll a little bit up. We have icons.send. And we have color, which is colors.white. Let me just properly do that. So for the color, and we are getting an error because we didn't add this inside this icon itself. And now we have a size of 18. And we can now give it a background color of colors. We are actually using a particular color here. So we can just scroll up and grab one of these colors. So let's just grab this. And lastly, we can give it an elevation, something like a box shadow to have elevation of 1 if you wish. So you could see right here, we have that looking very nice. And we can just go ahead and replace this color. Let's just go ahead and replace this light blue color. So sorry for that. This dog is kind of messing things up. So one more thing we now need is to use the expanded. So you could see why we are using that. We are going to be using the size box. So I'm going to add a size box here in order to space things out properly. So we have a width of 15, and I'm going to copy that. I'm just going to paste it here in order to space things out properly for us. So over here, you could see we have a very nice size bust. And this is the last thing we're going to do. We're going to have a child of text field with a decoration. So sorry for that noise, guys. I didn't expect all this night. And we have the decoration of hint text, which is going to be a let's say write a message. So I can just write a message, and we have hint style, which is a text style with a color of colors.black 54. So that's just a simple color we are using. And lastly, we can just give it a border, and this is gonna be an input border. We can either choose to give it a border, but let's just use none for now. And that should be it. And let's go ahead and save. And when application loads, you could see we have a very nice interactive screen over there. So that's it. We are done with designing this over here. So if you kind of notice on Signal app, we have something like a time under it. I'm just going to give you a hint. It's going to be your own part of challenge. All you just have to do is to simply come over here. Instead of you using a direct text here, you can use a column widget. Then you can put the text at the top and also the smaller text at the bottom. Then you style them respectively, which is going to give you a perfect shape. So initially I said that we're gonna finish this top part, and I don't think we can because this dog kind of barking, and I don't know why the dog is not getting some sleep, but let's not just provoke the dog to disturb us the more. And we are just done. So you can just follow the normal conventional way I did this and use it to do for the top of the user list, for the top of this user list over here. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. So, which is very simple as well. So guys, if you've really come this far, I will appreciate that you smash that like button and also smash the subscribe button. And see you on the next part where we're going to be talking about a full stack application on our Flutter Signal application. So thank you once more, and make sure you smash that like button and also the subscribe button. And see you next time. Bye-bye.